This is Joe Pugh for IFLTV. We're in Birmingham ahead of Yafai versus Rodriguez. Eddie, how are you, mate?
Fantastically well, Joseph. How are you?
Very
Long time
well.
no see.
Yeah, I haven't seen you since Fisher Fight Week, Fisher Fight Night. Should do some more shows in the UK then I might see you more.
Hey.
Let's get straight into the card. Excellent card. I know, obviously, the McGraw fight didn't go through, the one that we all wanted to see, but as far as replacements go, it doesn't really get any more dangerous than Iron at Baluta.
No, I think there's a lot of talk at the moment, isn't there, about fans wanting entertainment. His Excellency talking about the Tom and Jerry fights that fighters running. You really don't have to worry about that this Saturday live on DAZN. 3 particularly all-action big fights. Yafai Rodriguez will be an absolute war. And some people just sometimes think, oh, who's this Rodriguez chap? I'll let you know. He's a former unified world champion that I thought beat Ioka, had a war with Terrazas, and he's an absolute warrior. Yafai is all action, big puncher, doesn't stop coming forward. That will be a tremendous fight. Peter McGraw against Baluta, like you said. I mean, I think they've got 3 victories over his stable so far, Baluta. And of course, Conor Walker against Liam Taylor for the British Commonwealth, which will just be a thriller. Throw that in with Pat Brown, I think one of the best prospects, not just in the country, in the world, as is Giorgio Vizioli, Hamza, Ibrahim Suleiman. And, I just said I don't want to put too much pressure on Tia Ayton, but I believe she's the next Katie Taylor. 18 years of age, just a complete savage. I've never seen anything like it. She's a born fighter, and her journey begins on Saturday night.
Yeah, just go on.
No, go on.
Just on Tia Ayton and Adam Maka and Leo Atang, who you've kind of put forward as the trio of future superstars of British boxing. I know Leo's being compared to AJ. He hasn't even had his pro debut yet. But is it important for these fighters to deal with the pressure that comes with these names that you're kind of putting behind them?
Yeah, because when you're fighting for us, you're going to get massive opportunities on a big stage. You've got to be able to handle it. Adam Maka's a great example. He's 18. His pro debut was at Madison Square Garden. I mean, he came out like a ball in a china shop, and that is, by the way, that's what he's going to be like. But you've got to keep composed, and that comes the same for Leo in a couple of weeks. A lot of pressure. It's a big show, Catchall Eubank in Manchester. That's his pro debut. And Tia as well. But you see, the thing is, what you've got to understand, they're just babies, really. They're 18. But they're so talented. And if we get it right with them, and we start building them from this age, 1, they're going to be household names. And 2, if they've got the ability, which we think they have, they can really dominate the sport. Right now, if you look at the younger generation of fighters that we have globally, I'm talking about the debutants, 2-0, 4-0, 8-0. We've got a phenomenal crop coming through. And this is the future. So, fighters like Tia and Adam and Leo are very important to our business.
I was talking to Sonny Edwards about this, actually, about the strategy of promoters now. And would you say that you're more looking at the 18-year-old amateur stars than the Olympic stars who have maybe been through that system, maybe won too many Olympic cycles and maybe have done too many rounds in that amateur system?
I think that the Olympians and the GB podium guys are tremendous fighters. It's like having a racehorse, right? You want the one with tremendous bloodstock, right? The great bloodline. And that's GB. That's being a podium fighter. That's being involved in events like the Olympics and World Championships and fighting all around the world. That's a very, very good development for your pro career. But we have all them. I mean, Yafai is a great example. He's an Olympic gold medalist. Pat Brown, he was in at the Olympics as well, in Paris. He's been through that system. And then you've got the other ones who might not have quite made the Olympic, maybe because they're too young and they didn't go that far, or maybe because they didn't get picked. Probably our greatest fighter that was a Team GB fighter that didn't get picked for the Olympics was Callum Smith. Right? And look what he went on to do. So someone asked me this morning, it was actually Dave Allen, he's like, what level of amateur do you have to be signed by Matchroom? And I said, it's completely case by case. Like, really, you need to have won ABA championships, in my opinion, but sometimes you get robbed in an ABA final. So, who knows? But, you have to have, for me, you just have to have something about you. And you want to build a relationship where we can enjoy the journey together. For me, there's nothing more pleasing than seeing Adam debut in MSG, or Leo coming up on the big Manchester show, or Tia this weekend, seeing her dad and her family, like that journey. Go back and look at Tia Ayton on YouTube at 10, 11, 12. This is a process that a father has brought his daughter into the sport. And by the way, she's done everything. MMA, kickboxing. Like, for me, she probably should have gone UFC. but she's just so talented as a boxer that I think she's going to go be a world champion very, very quickly. And I just really enjoy it. I like the enthusiasm and just the look of enjoyment on these real young fighters' faces as they start the journey. And they're going to get it all on a plate. They've just got to be good enough and work hard, and then God will decide the rest.
Just want to rewind 5 days to Richardson Hitchins' performance against George Kambosos. Two-part question, really. How impressed were you with Richardson Hitchins, and how far away is he from the boots, the Shakurs, that level of stardom in the States?
I think that one of the reasons that we went to MSG, one of the reasons that we did the homecoming and picked a fighter as good as and with a profile like George Kambosos is to give Hitchins that step up, to put him on the level of Tio and Devin and all those guys. And I think now people are talking about him in the same mould. I mean, I think really the job's been done with that respect. Now we've got to land the big fights. And I think him and Tio is a natural fight to make. Richardson's going to be very difficult to beat. And what I liked about Saturday's performance is he dominated. He won every round, pretty much what he always does. But then he turned the screw, beat him up and stopped him. That's the difference. And now he's got that confidence in his belief. I think you'll see more and more of that. So I put him right up there with all those guys I mentioned. And, I think a big fight will be next.
What did you make of his comments after the fight?
On reflection, I know he shouldn't have done it, but I don't necessarily blame him because he's told to say it. He doesn't, Richardson's never going to talk about free agency in an interview. We have a great relationship. He knows, he says to me often, you've completely changed my life. When we signed Richardson, I remember he pulled up to somewhere, he was in Brooklyn, the door of his car was basically hanging off. Mayweather Promotions has given him the Spanish Archer, and then all of a sudden, he's got nowhere to go. I saw him as a young man with great potential, but also a really good young man. I really like him, and I continue to like him. And we put him on at Madison Square Garden. We headlined him in Orlando. We headlined him in Las Vegas. And all throughout that period, people were saying to me, you're wasting your time with Richard Hitchins. He's not exciting. He's never going to draw a crowd. I said, I'd disagree. I think he's a phenomenal talent. We took him to Puerto Rico to fight for the world title. He won it. And then we brought him home for the homecoming against George Kambosos. Probably Richardson Hitchins goes down as one of my best pieces of work in the game. And he's delivered as well. So the partnership's been fantastic. And I just felt like Saturday should have been the moment where we were all in a ring going, hey, we've cracked it here. And I knew it was the end of his contract. And we hope still that we can continue that. But to do that in the ring with purpose, it just didn't sit well with me. And I pulled him after the fight. And, and he told our guys that someone had told him to say it. And I knew that anyway. But I was just felt like we should have been jumping around together going, fuck me, we've cracked it. All I want to do is make Richardson Hitchins the wealthiest man he can be and give him the opportunity to create a legacy in the sport. And we've spent a lot of money on Richardson Hitchins. And I'm glad I did because I believe in him. And I just felt like it should have been the time where we're sort of going, fuck me, yes, we're on the way, rather than, it's like, thanks to Matchroom, they completely changed my life. Oh, and now I'm going into free agency. It's like, what the fuck? So, but look, boxing's boxing. But I think if it was come from him, would have felt a little bit different. But listen, I'm sure we'll work it out. And if it works for everybody, hopefully we all move forward together.
Is there beef now between you and Carl Froch?
There will never be beef between me and Carl Froch because I love Carl Froch. Right? Carl is such a huge part of our business in boxing and my journey in boxing. I respect him so much as a fighter. I'm never going to... Carl knows I don't like it when he says, like, what's wrong with having an opinion? Nothing at all. But sometimes it's like the way that you deliver it. Like with that spite. It's like, he lost to Dubois, brutally knocked out, polaxed and falling around on the side. Oh, mate, calm down. It's like, so Carl says, he lost a very close decision to Andre Ward. I was there. But people wrote him off after that fight. And he came back. And what he did was phenomenal. As I said before, all I would rather is that sometimes you give people talk about like this guy that's shot to pieces in Asia. Can't believe. And, Carl also needs to address what he said that I said, which was, I will hang off the coattails of AJ for the rest of his career and be there with him till the day that he dies. He said, I said that. I mean, I'm still waiting to see where I said that. But yes, I will 1,000,000% back AJ for his entire career and beyond. Because he is a great man. Great man. By the way, I will 100%, despite what he said, I will 100% back Carl Froch, right? I still wouldn't have anyone say a bad word about him, and I'll always back him as a fighter for the rest of his, because I respect him so much. But I just want to see, I hate the negativity. Do you know what I mean? It's really what, sometimes I look at Carl and I say, that's what really is polluting this country. It's like this, it's just like, why don't you just go, God, blimey, like you can give your opinion. I think AJ might be past it, you know, or bad defeat to Dubois. Maybe he should hang it up. But listen, he's still got the bit between his teeth. Maybe one more roll of the dice. And Carl's like, Eddie just wants to make money. With all due respect, AJ having another fight makes no difference to me at all. To my life, to my business. I don't need AJ's money. But whilst he's fit, fresh and motivated, and we feel he's still got ability and freshness in the game, yes, we are going to continue. Now, trust me when I say it, I will be the one where we don't look good in sparring, or I don't hear that camp's gone very well. Well, I will say to him, mate, because he don't need to fight either. I don't need him to fight, and he don't need to fight.
Yeah, he implied that you should be telling him that
But look,
enough's enough.
If he isn't looking good in training camp, if the sparring's not going well, if we go into this fight in November, put it this way, if he goes into a fight in November, December, and doesn't look good at all, and hasn't sparred well, I would even say to him ahead of the Fury fight, you know, maybe we don't need to do this, but you'll find out very quickly what he has left in November or December, because he's going to fight someone that is dangerous, because there isn't anyone that isn't dangerous in the top 15. Do you know what I mean? But listen, for me, I just prefer a little bit of, and when he says about, you know, we're all the same team, we're not the same team. We're not. I said, oh, fucking hell, I always thought we were, but if we're not, we're not, and that's it. But I don't know.
He invited you on his channel. Would you entertain that? He said he's going to be here this week.
To be honest, I'll always listen. When I see him in Birmingham, I will tell him. I will say, look, the issue is I don't like look, he's my mate, AJ. So when I feel like you're just not necessarily having an agenda or being skewed in your opinion, yeah, it will piss me off. And if someone was slating Carl Froch, even though apparently we're not friends or family.
Did you think you were friends?
Of course, but the difference between friends, like, I'm never, your life goes like that, right? So, of course, Carl retires, I'm working in boxing, I'm flat out every day on the whole business. We're not going to message every day and go out for a Sunday roast down a Toby Carvery. I don't have time to do that, but there's always a respect and partnership and friendship because of what you shared together. I did everything to a T and delivered on everything I promised to Carl Froch, and vice versa. Great relationship, like, changed his career, he helped change our business, love it. And I've got a lot of admiration for him, but I don't have to agree with everything he says, and by the way, vice versa. So I don't see this as this big fallout. He's got his opinion, I've got my opinion. Would I go on his channel? Yeah, I suppose so. If he was here now, I'd definitely let him interview me. Of course, I wouldn't go, oh, no questions from Carl Froch. Matty Lawless, get Froch away. No, of course not. I don't give a fuck. I speak to everybody. It's about 50 people here trying, so I speak to all of you. You know that. But if you turn up on fight night and stick a mic under my face and go, hey, it's a bit different. But if you come to the presses, if you get credited like a journalist, we'll talk.
I don't know if you saw this, but on Talk Boxing this week, Ben Davison was on. Yeah. And he said, and this is no excuse whatsoever for the Dubois fight in regards to AJ's performance, he got to the Wembley Stadium very late. Yeah. Was you aware of that on fight night and after fight night?
Yeah, because we were waiting for him to arrive. Yeah. And so it was a mistake from AJ. He got caught in traffic that wasn't expected to be. And look,
was it worrying for you on the night?
No, but AJ is a man of preparation. So you turn up, you know you're late, you know you're wrapping your hands a little bit quicker than you'd like. Maybe the warm-up isn't quite as long as you would have liked. But you've got to deal with that. Do you know what I mean? You can't... That's just life. Got a bit unlucky with it, but it wasn't perfect. But everything was perfect. The camp was perfect. You know, when I spoke to Ben Davison, really fancied this fight. Looked good, in a great place. But yeah, turning up late weren't ideal, but like I say, like you just got to overcome that. But in an ideal world, it would have been a better fight day preparation. Would it have made a difference? It's heavyweight boxing. Probably not, but we'll get it right next time.
2 quick ones before I let you go. Canelo Crawford press conference is tomorrow. Dana White, I know he's made his comments about boxing, entering boxing. I know Oscar De La Hoya's made comments. But from the outside looking in, it looks like you've always had a good relationship with Dana White. Put this event to the side. Is there potential for you two to work together with TKO in the future in boxing?
Yeah, I don't know what their plans are, their strategy. We may be rivals. That's exciting to me as well. Because I think Dana White's one of the best promoters to ever do it, So for me to compete with Dana in the boxing space would be a great challenge. And I'm really up for that. Or we could end up working together. I think the league and the format that they'll be looking to do initially probably won't see us up against each other, and I don't think it's going to even happen till some point next year. So who knows? But yeah, I think I think Dana in the boxing space is great for boxing. Great for boxing because he's got a massive profile, and the fact remains he's in boxing for a reason. The reason is it's red hot.
Last one. What did you make of Tyson Fury's little kind of G up to the England squad? I know he was part of Soccer Aid last year, not this year.
I was talking about more the one with the kilt.
Walking through Scotland. Yeah, well,
I was looking at that thinking, blimey, I've never done any of that for my Netflix show. And it's the same crew who are filming it. They're probably thinking, this is a lot more entertaining than Eddie.
Would you have done that?
It was very well tactically done. Because what he done was he pulled the skirt up, the kilt, up high enough to make him look like he was in decent shape. That's the sort of thing I'd do. Around the pool with your shorts. Yeah. Just like pull them up a little bit higher so you can't see the side bits,
Oh, I've got no hope. I've got no hope.
Man after my own heart. Yeah.
Very last one on Soccer Aid. What did you think when you saw Tony Bellew and Tyson Fury kind of wrap their arms around each other? They've had their back and forths in the past.
They actually asked me to be on the management team for the rest of the world because Tyson was the England manager. Yeah. And I had the show in New York, and we were looking at ways to try and fly back for it, which would have been quite amusing. But yeah, with Bellew and Fury, Tyson's that guy though, who whatever he's said to you or about you in the past, when he's face to face with you, for some reason it all kind of goes. Do you know what I mean? Like he slagged me off to the hills over the years. I think we get on all right now. But even when he would slag me off and I would slag him off, when he saw me at a show, it's like it never happened. So like he slated Bellew. And then you see him at Soccer Aid, like, "Whoa," and I was like looking at Tony thinking, because Tony's a little, like, Tony will remember what was said, but Tyson plays up this great, he's a huge personality. Great personality, great for boxing. So just sign the contract, big boy.
Eddie, thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.